One day we are going to die. That is a fact of life. We are born, spend around 50 to 80 years being depressed and paying taxes, then we die and several generations later forgotten forever. And that is just how life goes. Maybe we will find someone who loves us, and we can be distracted together for a while before one of us attends the other's funeral. Alright, now that I have started this video on a happy note, and not a single person has walked away to grab a stiff drink to calm the creeping anxiety, let's get into Destiny lore. Death is something we've had to come to terms with during our time playing Destiny 2. The Speaker was killed by Gaul during the Red War. Cade was gunned down by the Scorn Barons and ultimately sent to the afterlife by Aldrin. We even got front row seats to Amanda being turned into a basket of fried chicken. But during our 10 years playing Destiny, there's always been the assumption that we or our ghost will never die, and the Traveler will never leave us. But I want to propose a different idea. Can death hit that close to home? The game would change forever, and our understanding on how light works would be thrown out the window. We may die in final shape, and if we do not die, I think there's a possibility our ghost will. We assume at this point we and our ghost are constants. Our understanding of how the light works is the Traveler is the generator, our ghost is the battery, and we are the light bulb. That's really the explain like I'm 5 version of how this whole thing with the light works. If there's no Traveler, the ghosts stop being able to hold power and we only have left whatever light supply is still in us till it runs out. If you are an electrician, I'm sure you will easily understand that concept. And the same is true when our ghost dies. That connection, that link between us and the Traveler is severed, like a circuit. Once we use up our last bit of light reserves, we will never have that power again. This is the lore reason why we didn't die during the Red War after Gaul kicked us off his ship. Our last bit of light saved us.
How do we come back from this?
You don't. Welcome to a world without light.
Guardian, something's wrong.
Do not look at me, creature. You are weak, undisciplined, cowering behind walls. You're not brave. You've merely forgotten the fear of death. Allow me to reacquaint you. Your kind never deserved the power you were given. I am Gaul, and your light is mine.
I'm going to come back to that cutscene again later, but let us talk about the light and ghosts. I'm going to say I know there's a popular theory going around that ghosts were once part of the Witness and became separated from the unit and lost their identity, but I do not believe that to be true. As of right now, the best we know is that ghosts were once part of the Traveler, and this is how they were born. I remember the moment we were born. There was pain and loss and a feeling of falling. Was this the end? The shadows gathered, colored bruised purple and gray in our fading consciousness. Our shell cracked and splintered. Parts of us were lost or carried away. We felt those wounds, jagged and sharp. We could feel them still, attached by a gossamer thin strand of understanding. We felt a garden with no blooms, a valley shrouded in gloom. We felt ourselves dying. We didn't want to go. Then there I was, separated from the whole. I could feel it shrink, slip back into itself, dim and unseen. I knew it was waiting, resting, watching, considering. And I knew what I needed to do. Somewhere in this wide, amazing galaxy, there was a person. They were quiet and dead, like we had been. But I could bring them back. I could share what was inside of me, this glorious warmth and light and breath and being. Together, that person and I would do what we, the we before me, could not. I wrapped the spark that was me in metal and glass, a tiny bit of something that reminded me of the home we had shared. Then I set out to find my person, the keeper of my light. There were so many people, so many still, fragile things, decaying into dust, lost to memory. I touched each one, looking for something, a fragment of ember under the ash. I didn't find it. I know now there is one person, only one, that is mine. I have been to many planets, seen things I never knew were possible, hid from monsters and followed dreams. I have seen others of my kind, the other pieces that were once us. Their search is over. They are complete, stronger, braver, because they found their counterpart. I am alone. I know you are still out there, that you are waiting for me. But it has been so long, and I am so very cold. I will rest here and think about us for a moment, cold, where you. If you did not know, ghosts are not the exterior. They're not the shells. Those are literally shells and can be interchangeable. They are the shining light that you usually see while waiting for your teammates to revive you after you punched a screeb. Talking to you, Titans. And as you can see from the lore, they wanted to wrap their light themselves in metal to remind them of home. As far as we are aware, ghosts were once a part of the Traveler, and from what we know at the moment are fragmented parts of the Traveler's consciousness. I do hope we get more info about ghosts in the final shape or soon after, because they are still largely a mystery. But even with that lore piece, there are still ghosts who are not convinced that this fact is true. They say they do not remember their birth or anything before their existence. Some ghosts are not sure their purpose or why they exist, or even where they came from. There's this really funny lore page about two ghosts debating like a typical atheist versus theist kind of debate. And if you've never seen an atheist ghost, yeah, they are just as condescending as you'd expect. Peregrine Institute of Higher Learning presents Ghost Stories, interviews with two ghosts of the Traveler. A guest lecture by two guardianless ghosts about life, light, and the search of their guardians, featuring Balthazar, unpartnered, and Peach, unpartnered. Transcript of the Q&A session is as follows. What is the Traveler in your understanding? Great question. Terrible question. In a sense, it's the only question. The Traveler is our primary, our mother, the primordial and the pinnacle. A dear friend, the ghost of Pajori, once compared the Traveler to a song that has never been sung. Look, the answer no one likes to give is that no one knows what the Traveler is or anything about it, not even us. We know she wished for us to raise guardians to be her avatars and defenders. Do we, though? Just because we can do that doesn't mean that we were made to do that. And you say it's a she anyways. Why does it need a gender? The Traveler, in her omnipotent wisdom, looked into the past and the future, and from all the generations that emerged from the cradle of Earth, she chose the best of them to be her champions. Each ghost was lovingly and carefully created for their one true guardian. The ghost and guardian complete each other. If that's true, then the Traveler's kind of a jerk. Excuse me? Look, I know tons of ghosts who died before they ever found their guardians. I know some ghosts who still haven't found a guardian. You haven't. I haven't. But I don't think I'm incomplete because of it. I have the humility to recognize my own shortcomings and to submit myself to the traveler's plans. Do you remember being inside the traveler? No. I do. We call it the womb. I have never and will never call it that. Imagine a cosmos inside a bottle, trillions of eggs orbiting each other in a complex weave, but they aren't stars. Perhaps a better word would be souls. Souls dancing in an infinite space enclosed within a celestial egg. Which one is it? An egg or a womb? It's called a metaphor. Well, then pick a metaphor, not 12. Well, what would you call it then? I wouldn't call it anything because I don't remember it, and I don't think you do either. Some people say that each ghost is an aspect of the traveler. That is to say that each ghost represents a part of the divine whole. Would you please? This is unbecoming. First of all, that wasn't a question. Second of all, third of all, if I'm part of the traveler's brain or soul or whatever, then the traveler sure isn't divine. I'll tell you that much. What will you do if you never find a guardian? I shall find a guardian. The traveler has willed it so. Did you get that in writing? It is true that some ghosts die before finding their partners. If that happens to me, then I suppose I will do nothing, since I will no longer be. But I have faith. If I never find my guardian, I'll just go steal someone else's. I hear Sagira had a good time with that. If you could eat, what would you eat first? Finally, a good question. We do not know the desire for food. Our semi-corporal form, nectarines, or hot sauce. Oh, or crickets. Crunchy, roasted crickets. Crunchy food sounds so fun. I wish I could get cricket capriccia stuck between my teeth. Here's a question for you. What's it like to have teeth? Is this over yet? So even between ghosts, there's still a lot of debate. And we could even debate about what lore we want to pull from based on what we want the ghost to be. But I do think some, if not all, do have memories of the time before they were ghosts. Because there's another lore in a grimoire called Ghosts. And this is from Destiny 1. But I want you to pay very close attention to what I'm going to say here in this grimoire. We'll go over it at the end, but I really want you to listen to this one. Beyond. It is a place casting shadows and emotion. It's a real place. I know. One hot blue sun, say, and other suns too. 5, maybe. I like 7 better. What I'm recalling is a giant star with a family of 6 smaller suns, and you could spend days and nights counting all the planets circling those suns. Except there are no planets. Not anymore. The powers in charge have carved up all the worlds, and maybe a brown dwarf or 2 for good measure. With that rubble, they fashion a topologically creative enclosure, a twisting of space and time sealed behind doors that admit only those that know the magic words. The bones of 100 planets have been cut smooth and laid out like a floor, a polished and lovely floor creating vast living spaces, a floor bigger than 10,000 worlds, catching the fierce glory of the 7 suns. For light, for food, for beauty, and nothing escapes. Not heat, not gravity, not even the faintest proud sound. It could be anywhere. It could live in the cold between galaxies or folded up inside matter, near enough to touch right now. I remember it, and maybe it's exactly as I describe it. 7 suns wrapped inside magic, or it's something else entirely. A place still fat with life, an abundance of sentient souls, some decent, maybe a few of lesser quality, and somebody stands about or floats about, or they bounce between dimensions. The point is that the residents of this hidden realm live inside a bottle so perfectly hidden that they cannot see beyond their own borders, which shapes a mind in a very specific ways. But beyond is their name for a mysterious, doubtful realm that they can't see, which is us, of course. A door that can only be opened with the magic words. That could be the veil connecting with the traveler. The rubble of thousands of worlds fashioned together. Bones of 100 planets cut smooth and laid out. Now that we've gone over a little about ghosts, let's talk about expectations. With what we know currently, the traveler cannot die. If it dies, we lose our light. All light is produced by the Traveler. Without the Traveler, there is no light. Things can change this fact at some point, like maybe the Traveler sacrifices itself and now the universe produces its own light. That's just a way it could happen off the top of my head, but I don't really see that happening. I do, however, think that our ghost may suffer a near fatal blow, and this results in us either almost dying or maybe almost becoming part of the witness. Let's take a look back at the final shape reveal trailer.
One last time.
We are getting pulled into what looks like a black oil as we struggle to break free, and then it cuts to what is obviously inside the witness with millions of arms. Now, obviously, this was made to be a trailer, so we have no idea if these two scenes are connected narratively in any way. But I do not think our struggle is a metaphor. I think we are literally fighting not to be absorbed by the witness. The black ooze is the same color and texture as the witness's body, and matches the swirling pattern of the outstretched tunnel of arms. Why would the witness want to absorb us, though? That isn't, if that is in fact what he wants to do. Well, he would gain all of our knowledge. How we beat Oryx, how we stopped Xivu, how we defeated Rolk, how we defeated Nezarec, how we tricked Savathun. Every single thing that we have done to deter him from the final shape, he would now understand. How we were able to survive so many encounters that other civilizations have failed. Why humans were so special for the Traveler to make its last stand here and produce ghosts. And we already know that every single person inside the witness still exists in an individual state. For ghosts who drown in the truth, the journey was instantaneous. Such was the force of the informational mass that pulled the signal into the radiolarian vortex at the heart of the Vex network. Decompiled data from untold eons of simulations poured into the signal, filling it to capacity. A single mind filled with voices, billions of voices, each tell their story, now screaming them. The whirls of writhing data did not abate. They surged in endlessly straining the signal's parameters, eroding, overwriting. There was no time to adapt. A picosecond later, and there was nothing left of the signal but a dim ripple of spite. And all the stories had the same ending, shouted in a single voice, the toll of the bell that heralds the end of time. It is as I said all along, the signal thought bitterly as it unspooled into the data stream. No one can stop it. There is no sense in even trying. That was the Vex possibly trying to simulate the witness. Or they were able to get information from their simulation of the Veil, as we saw in the Avalon mission, and be able to understand and see the past that was the witness, and see more into the witness's mind. But even the Vex were unable to hold that simulation for very long, to hold that knowledge before it just went away. It was too powerful for them. And having more knowledge through us would make it easier for the witness to subjugate the universe. Make sure no one is able to fight back, and make sure the final shape could never be undone. If they could get us to join them, willingly or by force, who else could stop them? Who else has had a fire team and been able to accomplish so much? I know I have videos and I've said for a very long time, I do not believe that we are the strongest guardian in lore, but we are by sure as hell the most capable. We get stuff done. Now, as far as our ghost dying, let's take a closer look at him in this trailer.
To rise.
Do you see it? Our ghost is broken. There is a dent going from right to left, his face screen glitching out, something we have not really seen before. The last time we saw our ghost broken was during Red War.
This can't be happening. Guardian. You're alive. I thought I'd lost you. I can heal you, but I can't resurrect you. Not since.
And if we look at the trailer again, the way the ghost is talking in some of the events he shows, it's almost like a whole "my life is flashing before my eyes" ordeal. He starts with remembering how he revived us for the first time in the Cosmodrome.
After all,
His ghost shell in that moment was intact, no damage. Then a little later we see the Vault of Glass, but it's not exactly like how the raid was.
the truth is, I didn't know then.
The ghost shell is now broken. Remembering that moment they overcame the Vault of Glass and stopped the Vex, Ghost is almost begging us not to give up. As the trailer goes on, to come back, I'm asking you one last time to rise. And as Ghost says that, this happens.
To rise.
Did you notice our Guardian? Let's take a look again. The Guardian has its light literally being blown off of him. And it's something that happened similar in the Red War.
Welcome to a world without light.
Guardian, something's wrong.
When Gaul put the Traveler in a cage, our light was snatched from us. The abrupt change in states caused the light to quickly be removed from our bodies. But in the Final Shape trailer, we are fighting through something that is causing our light to be blown out of us. And I think this is intentional to draw a lot of players back to that moment. I know Red War is no longer in game, but for a lot of us, that was something that changed how we saw the light, our Guardian, and Destiny overall. Nothing was more shocking than being powerless and feeling of vulnerability. If we take a look at one of the pre-alpha build that they showed off in the showcase, it becomes even more apparent the draw to this scene.
Try to also capture is that the witness keeps throwing everything it has at you. And so you're going.
The way we are walking, running away is very familiar. And if you've played Red War, you'll sense you've seen this before. We are hurt. We are in over our heads. Why else would we be running from 2 taken thralls and a taken captain? Something that we could easily shut down without even trying. We are running from something. It is never in our nature to run. So whatever is happening must have us very, very worried. Did we lose our ghost? Is our light gone again? I know people are going to say, Sticky, we can't lose our ghost or the Traveler or our light because Destiny goes on. We have seen that the stories come after. And you are correct. You are correct. I do not think the Traveler is most likely going to go away or die or anything like that because, well, there's a whole patrol space now inside the Traveler. But as far as Ghost, that's assuming nothing changes in how we understand the light, our abilities, and our connection to the Ghost and the Traveler. Everything has the possibility of changing in the Final Shape, whether we win or lose. It could be something as simple as our ghost dies, but because we were inside the Traveler, we don't need that intermediary anymore. We now have a straight connection to the source of light. Or it could be like how we're able to get a hold of the darkness. Now we are the producers of light. That way it can never be snuffed out, that every single Guardian now can produce their own light. These are all obviously theories, and we will not know for another couple months. But either way, I do believe that we will be in big trouble in the Final Shape. I don't think it's going to be a simple run and gun where the wrong Cloud Strider dies kind of campaign. I think this is going to be a very emotional expansion. I think we're going to experience moments we have never felt before. We may have to watch our ghost, our best friend, suffer and or die. And I expect every single person to have tissues next to your gaming chair, and you better not be using tissues for you know what, you better be using tissues for your nose and eyes. I think a serious loss is needed in Destiny. We have only lost one character in 10 years that we have been close to, and then 2 side characters that barely did anything. A serious blow to our hearts is needed now that Cade 6 is making a return in-game, even if his role in-game will most likely be very limited. I would love to hear your theories and your thoughts in the comments section, so please tell me. I am very much looking forward to Final Shape, and I'm glad that with the hoverboards that came out recently, we've seen a turn for the more positive in the Destiny community. And I look forward to more positivity and more hope going into Final Shape. So thank you all for watching this video, and if you enjoyed it, please comment, like, and subscribe. And a special thanks to my VIP and above members, Pulse, Son of a Mitch, and Prince Mav. And remember, hunters never die.